Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. I'm Spencer Israel, here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick on the show today. The short squeeze of all short squeezes, FOSL. Crazy move after the bell, after earnings yesterday. We talked about that. We'll talk about Netflix moving up this morning on news of a new producer that they hired away from Fox. Well, I guess soon to be Disney. Chipotle moving off of the news that they got a new CEO. Hertz and Carr getting the beats this morning. We have other earnings to discuss as well. Baidu, Twilio, MetLife. Our guest today is trader and comedian Bill Santiago. He will join us at 8:35. Joel, tell us how we're doing this morning in the S&Ps.
We're doing good. We're doing real good, Spencer. We're trading in the green by 9.5 points, 2671.75. That's where we're trading. Didn't even get much below the close last night at 61.75. So 61 even. Your pre-market low. That's a big level on the downside. Upside high 77.50, don't have much there. Up to Wednesday's high of 2686.50. Crude in the red here by 48 cents, now under $59. So much for being in the 60 handle in crude. Gold, we are up 360 in gold, trading at 1334, right on the nose. Silver's up a nickel at 1658. And how we do? Oh, Bitcoin over 9,000 here. We did have some consolidation in Bitcoin, but now over 9,000. Jeff was on. He was talking about us holding in here at 8,500, perhaps testing 10,000, but trading in the green today. Dennis, what are you trading this morning? FOSL, what's the trade du jour?
FOSL's your big mover of the day here, but I'm sticking with my more boring stocks. I just made a trade Coke a few minutes ago. Trading all my boring ones. You know how I am. I like boring. Boring pays the bills. I've never paid the bills playing the wild childs, but it's fun to talk about the wild children. And do we want to talk about those? Because FOSL is on fire here this morning. This is short squeeze haven. I'll tell you that. Huge short interest on the stock. They reported earnings, and it is up 73%. Spencer, give us the details.
Right. The numbers were good. I didn't think it would be this good. But Q4 adjusted EPS of 64 cents, which is a 24-cent beat on the estimate, which was 40 cents. So sales of 921 versus $889.5 million. So they beat those numbers. I mean, they didn't totally blow them away or anything, but they beat them well enough.
Well, their earnings seemed like a blow away.
And as far as Q1 guidance came in. They gave some EBITDA guidance, and they gave some Q2 sales guidance, but nothing super notable, honestly, on that front. It was mostly just the Q4 number as the top and bottom line beat.
Just a huge beat, though, for a stock that's as heavily shorted as FOSL is. This is going to be short annihilation here this morning. Stock closed at $9.04. It is trading at $15.67. It's actually off the after hours highs. I think I saw this thing tick up over 17. Joel will tell you about that action in just a second. I just want to go out and look at the weekly chart because you've got to go a long ways to find levels here, Joel. And we broke down in mid-2017 from about $17 down to under 14, and we've never been back up there since. Now we come back into this area, just whoosh, squeezing the hell out of the shorts to get ourselves up here. Talk about this after hours action.
Your high is at 1806, believe it or not, and then you had a dip.
$18, almost a double, a double.
Yep. And then someone woke up at 4 in the morning. I don't know if that was you, Dennis, but gapped over at 4 a.m. and made a low at 14.25. And now you got a seller. You found a seller in here finally at the 1640, 1650 level. So keep an eye on that. We're a buck away from that. Well, let's see how good the chat is. What story do I always bring up when we talk about FOSL and when this made? Let's go to the all-time high in FOSL. It's related.
I don't know if I know this story.
You know this story.
What do you got? What do you mean?
Spencer,
what's the story on FOSL? You got a FOSL watch story? Like you had one of these things?
When this made its all-time high, okay, and just in this area is when Bubba Watson, you know this story. Bubba Watson won the Masters, and he was wearing that pink FOSL watch.
The pink one. That's what did it. Was that at the highs? What year was Bubba Watson win the Masters? That was after. Was
this in 2012?
Spencer, can you help me out here?
Was this in 2012? Was that when this was happening?
Is that many years ago? Bubba Watson won the Masters? No, it hasn't been.
When was the all-time high? 2011, 2012.
But but I think the Bubba Watson thing. I'm challenging Joel's thesis that the Bubba Watson was the high. I think Bubba Watson came after the high. When did Bubba Watson win the Masters? Googling it right now.
I will. Yeah, me too.
Bubba Watson.
All right, this is silly. He won in 2012.
We got to know.
2012, 2014. He won it twice.
Okay. All right. 2000.
Was it the first one or was it the 2014 one? Now it matters. Which one did he wear the pink FOSL watch for?
I think it was the 2012 one.
Of course you think that. Anyways, 2014. It's a great point. It's up at $120 near there in 2014 as well. So we'll give you a pass on this one.
When did he wear the
Bubba
pink?
Watson pink watch topped the stock?
When was that? Can you tell me what Masters that was?
Oh, Buy Apple says it was 2015. Did he win in 2015 too? How many Bubba Watson win?
Nah, he didn't win 3 of them.
2014. I think it was a 2014.
Okay, well, the all-time high that's when it got up to 130. But anyways, I'm just looking at the pre-market high here. I see a seller at 1650. If I had some profits, I'd be booking it there if, in fact, it got back up to that level.
It's so hard to say when you got this many people squeezed. And squeezes can get worse. So there's a wild card. This is a short squeeze. And it would not be up 79% if it wasn't as heavily shorted as it was. Do you have the short interest in front of you, Spencer, there? I think it was like 49% or something last time I checked.
Here, I'll look real fast in short squeeze.
It's a race. It's a race.
43%. Oh, boy.
Oh.
I had 40, but 43 we'll say. So you were squeezing the hell out of some people this morning. Up 80%. I don't know. This is just hard to say. If I was long, I'd probably ring the register, but these squeezes can go on for a while, and this is a pure short squeeze. On a decent report.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know if I'd be coming here putting new money into it though. Up after it was just $9 yesterday. I don't like chasing stocks. I've never made money chasing stocks. I'm not a big chaser. I like them to come in to me. Okay, so that's the FOSL story. That's your big winner of the day. And then you got a lot of other earnings stocks to talk about. And I'm just looking here through the list. Baidu is probably the next biggest on the list. It is up substantially here last night after they reported BIDU. Give us these numbers from China.
Q4 EPS $2.29 versus $2.10. Sales of $3.62 billion versus $3.64 billion. So a mixed number for Q4. Q1 sales guidance, you see that coming in below the estimate. 3.05 to 3.22 billion is the estimate. Is what they see. 3.33 billion was the estimate. So we missed that number by a little bit. So overall, a mixed report.
So anyways, they're lifting the stock and they're reporting on the right day. The market sentiment has overall turned here, so that's why they're loving all earnings reports right now. 240 is where the stock is got a big level to me. I just look at all those highs we had in December, finally took it out in January, and then we had the run up to over 260. But, we've come back in 4 days from 207. I think you're going to start to find some resistance in this 240, 243 area. What are your thoughts, Joel?
Let's just go with your pre-market high as a target at 243.12. That's $4 away. Having a hard time getting over 240 this morning. You did have a print just a little bit ago at 240.67. Looking at the dailies here, dailies don't help you much. Let's see if I can find a daily high in this area. Boom, boom. Nothing to 248.23 if you're just going basis the daily highs, and that high was on February 1st. So if in fact you can take out that pre-market high, keep an eye on 48.23. But Dennis made a great point here. Just 3 trading sessions ago, this traded 207.74. So anybody picking up cheap calls or anything like this, weekly calls, maybe
or just buying the stock.
Yeah, I'd be ringing the register.
Yeah, I think overhead supply. I think you got all kinds of different sellers. People who got burned, basically buying the stock November, December, and now they're getting their money back. People who bought on the cheap just the last few days. It's a good report. It's up 6%, but it's not like there's a huge short interest. It wasn't a great blowaway report. I'm just fading this move. That's my opinion here.
Okay. All right. What's our next report?
All kinds of news here today and lots of good earnings reports to talk about there. But let's jump over here to, I don't even know where I want to go. SodaStream, SODA. That's up big.
All right. This is the part where I tell my sodas. My only real story SodaStream is that I bought one as a gift for my mom, and then she made me return it that night. So SodaStream.
Why did she make you return
She
it?
didn't want it. It was for her birthday.
She didn't want to make cherry cola?
She looked at me and said, "Spencer, give this back." So I did. Q4 EPS. Q4 EPS $1.13 versus 71 cents in the same quarter last year.
Wow.
Sales of 157 versus 151 $1 million. So hey, good Q4 for SodaStream. Their fiscal year sales guidance about $540 million and an EPS of $3.29.
You know what? Great report. Stock is breaking out to an all-time high, so you can't argue with that. That being said, look at the monthly charts. There is no stock that has come back further than soda. So this stock went from $75 in 2013, actually 80 in 2011, if you want to go back all the way to there, down to almost $10. Got down to $11 in 2016. Everybody thought that SodaStream was dead. And then it just started catching a bed. And it went to 20, and it went to 30, and it went to 40, and it went to 50, and it went to 60, 70. Now we're over 80. So it's come all the way back from $11 just a year and a half, just 2 years ago. So in 2 years, the stock went from 11 to 81 now, getting all of those losses back, now breaking out to a new all-time high here again. The trend is your friend. I'll give you that. But I'll tell you, if I was investing in this thing now, I feel like you're so late to the party.
Pre-market. I don't even know
what to say on this.
I don't even know what to say about this one.
And personally, I'm with your mom. If somebody bought me a SodaStream, I'd say take it back. So
Yeah,
I don't love the product
either. She just didn't.
I played with it. My buddy Lenny's house. He was making me. I've told this story before years ago on the show. He made me, this cherry cola, and he's like, "Look, I put twice as much sugar in it." I tasted the thing and my lips almost fell off. There was so much sugar in the cherry cola. But regardless, I saw the thing, kind of looked like fun, but I don't really get the appeal. But you can't argue with the stock price. Stock price has been doing very well.
You hit a new all-time high, much higher than these levels at 87.50. Kind of on the retreat now. Currently trying to find support here near $82. I'd even go with the high of the last bracket at 84 and a quarter is some intermediate resistance. Your former all-time high was made in 2011 at 79.64. So that could be support there. But I think your high of the day is in here. Just in my opinion, wouldn't we buying this thing up? Man, this is only up $3, but at one point it was up over $8. So congratulations to Long on this one. Chart just bases the 15-minute chart. Looks like got some sellers in there now.
Jump over here to a few other stocks that are on the list. Groupon, GRPN, is getting hit here this morning. It was actually getting bid up ahead of the report, but it's getting hit this morning. What'd they say?
Were they this morning or after the bell? They were.
No, they were this morning.
They're not.
I traded it last night. I traded ahead of the earnings. I was actually selling it, and I actually had it long. I sold it. It popped like 25 cents last night. So you literally a 4.5% move after hours ahead of the report. I wish I would have been short. I had it long. I sold for that. I wish I would have been short too, though. But anyways, Groupon.
I don't know if it's out yet. Did you see the number?
It's got to be out. Let me go look. I got to go find out. It's got to be out. It's down 3%. Maybe it's not out, but maybe there's a turn. Hang on. Find it out. No, here it is. I got it. 7 cents versus 9 cents. So Groupon misses, it looks like. I'm not as good as this as Spencer. So EBITDA 260. So they see fiscal year EBITDA 260 to 270 million versus analyst estimates of 276 million. So light on the revenue guidance as well. That is why Groupon is down. That being said, we have a buyer at $5 here, Joel. $5 is a big whole psychological number. It's where a lot of brokers, a lot of securities become marginable as well. I see 100,000 in the pre-market. That's not an order that's in the book. That's right there in the active book, in the pre-market. Somebody's bid 100,000 at 5. So somebody says 5 is the bottom. I don't know if that's the case or not, but there's an institution willing to buy 100,000 there.
That's certainly a big order, big range in this one. After hours, or actually this morning, you got all the way to 565. Then you had to dip to 472. But if you're trading Groupon, I mean, I'd keep an eye, see if that order sticks around, see if he gets filled, see if he refreshes. You do have 2 lows surrounding that area, 495 to 507. Big volume day yesterday ahead of the report. So holding $5. Actually, if you look at it, you've had, wow, a lot of lows here at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the last 7 rows were right around $5. You did have another low on Friday when things melted down.
5 is huge.
Yeah, that's it. $5, $5.
$5 is huge. Jump over here, Twilio, TWLO. They reported last night that stock is up 10% in the pre-market, reporting on the right day again. I mean, it's all about when you report. You reported last week when the market was in the doldrums. They hit everything. Now you're reporting and the market's back. Now they're buying everything off these earnings reports. Up 9.5%. TWLO, tell us about this report.
Q4 adjusted EPS with a 3-cent loss versus a 6-cent loss. Estimate sales of 115 versus $103 million. So they beat on both the Q4 numbers. What else do we have? We have the CFOs leaving the company. We have Q1 EPS guidance coming in a bit low by a couple cents. We have sales guidance for Q1 coming in. There was no estimate there, or there was, and it was whatever. It was fine. So nothing crazy from the only thing that jumps out to me besides the Q4 EPS and sales numbers are the sales estimates for the fiscal year, which are coming in higher than the estimate. Again,
a big run up in the last few days. The stock, when we were crashing there just last week, got down to 23.25, and then we turned on a dime. We know Friday afternoon was the bottom, and we've turned on a dime on almost every single chart. Now we're up at 29. So you're talking about 25 to 30% move here in a matter of 3 days. So it's a huge move. 10% with the earnings, 15% with the overall market ahead of the earnings. It's a huge move. And now you're coming in a big psychological $30. I can't see chasing it up here. Longer term chart looks like you're basing. Like if you go out to the monthlies and you look at this thing just from a longer term perspective, you've got all kinds of support down in the lower 20s. And the stock came from 70 earlier. So it looks like you're forming like a long-term base, which is good news. But I don't want to chase something that's up 30% a week.
This is Sean Udall favorite. It's been a favorite of his for a while, though. So this one is moving up. This one bases the 15-minute chart here. Doesn't look like it's done. I mean, you're continuing to make new highs in the pre-market session. Your last trade, 29.25. That's the high of the session. They're throwing some pretty good volume, all the big volume on the upticks. Might want to use 30 psychological level. We haven't been over $30 since. Let me give you a date here. Well, we were near 30 on November 7th when we made a high at 29.89, and then no paper or nothing in the book or no daily high at 30. But you got another pair of highs between 30.42 and 30.74. So if 30 doesn't hold it psychological, maybe split those 2 highs, call 30.50, 30.60 your next level. And your November 2nd high was 31.51. But I have no idea where to give you support on this one. I mean, if this thing reverses, I was short, I would just throw numbers out at half and whole numbers. Really hard to find support in this right now.
Back to Groupon just for a second, Dr. J. Tallis. That 100,000 goes. It traded in the pre-market. I can see in just two hits. So some institution came in and said, you got them. They hit up 45,000, and 4 seconds later, they hit 50,000 more. Two huge sellers, bang, bang. So it looks like an institution came in to sell. Now we are below $5 here in the pre-market. Jump over here just away from the earnings parade for a second. There's lots of other earnings stocks to talk about. So if you want to talk about one specifically, we can do that. But we got to go to Chipotle. It's the big news here of the day. It's trading up 29 points here in the pre-market. And no, they didn't say anything about their food never having E. coli again. It is a new, what do we got? A new president here, or what's this? Who's this new guy from Taco Bell?
New CEO, if you recall, Steve Ellis, the founder of Chipotle, stepped down, announced he was stepping down. I want to say last quarter or 2 quarters ago, and now we have Brian Nicole, formerly known as the CEO of Taco Bell, is your new Chipotle CEO.
So they get the Mexican food. They get another Mexican food CEO there. So these guys know Mexican food, and obviously the market thinks he's going to turn the whole company around in one day because it's up 11% of 29 points. So huge pop here for CMG. My only concern, you do have a gap above 280, so you get in a nice little gappy area. But again, we have an overhead supply issue here. Yes, it's a new CEO. Yes, maybe this can turn around. Yes, I think it's going to hold on to some of the gains here, but I can't buy something up $30 here just on a new CEO. Maybe that's the guy that everybody wanted, and there is a gap up here, so I'm not going to short it because there's a gap ahead either. I'm sitting on my hands here, though. Just don't like the overhead supply.
This
Still
one,
this one is do it once a show.
This is a really interesting chart. Bases the 15 minutes here. Look at this. We had the pop up.
Yep.
And we're just holding, but look at this.
Flag.
Look at that.
Flag.
Someone has an opinion here. Down 280, 250 level.
I can see it actually looks like the Canadian flag, doesn't it? When you look at it on that chart, I can see like the little maple leaf even in there.
I don't see it. But let's see what happens here. If they can bust through this 280, 250, actually your pre-market high is 283.21. You got buyers and sellers here coming together, meeting on price. And for such a big up and for it to hold here, I don't know.
Good
holds.
Good point. It's not giving it back. It's been there for a while and it isn't giving it back yet. So it's a great point that Joel's making. Often, you see these things pop and then, they start to fizzle. Not fizzling. So if you could start getting up and make new pre-market highs there again, maybe you do fill that gap. The gap fill would be up to 293.
Yep.
That's 13 points more. Yep. I don't know if you got the gas to get there. And then you got 300 beyond that. But man, if it got up in the upper 290s, I think I'd be trying it from the short side. 280, it's too early for me though.
All right. And, if you're looking for support or you're looking for, an area where you might want to say uncle on the long side, just after that 4 o'clock open, very few shares traded at 277, but I would just use the range 280 to 283.21. That's your pre-market high. And I'd go with it. If it busts above that 283.21, greener pastures ahead, perhaps a gap fill. But if it lost 280 here, they could pound this thing down pretty darn easy because you can see basis a 15-minute chart here. And if you want to, go into the old record book or go into the, history book, remember what they did to GE when they got the new CEO? Took it to $29.
Yeah.
Never even seen that level since. So, he's not going to change things around today. He's not going to clean up the kitchens. He's not going to, the organic food. There's a lot of problems there. But nice pop if you took this home long up, up nearly 12%, nearly 30 points on 60,000 shares.
Jump over here to the blockchain stuff. And I just want to point out there's a few blockchain stocks here this morning actually announcing blockchain deals. I just want to point out, though, that this fad or whatever it was when somebody announces blockchain, the stock goes up 200-300%. It's over. These stocks don't get the lift at all anymore. Just for instance, last night you have YRIV, which is Yangtze River Port and Logistics. So whatever that is, limited. This is last night. They announced a plan to spin off Yangtze River Blockchain Logistics Limited. And I tweeted out last night jokingly, I'm like, you guys are about a month and a half too late if you want to try to get your stock price to go up, because these things used to go up 200-400% on this news. Now they seem to go up, and this one's not even up at all in the pre-market, but did go up 7% last night. You also have another one, And actually, I own shares of this one coincidentally. I have it because of ERI. ACTG, so Acacia Research Partners, to develop blockchain IP strategies. So Acacia announcing something with blockchain as well. Stock did pop up 8%. If these things announced these a month ago, the stocks would be up like 200, 300, 400%. And now they don't lift like that. The buzz is over. You might get a little lift on the blockchain, like I said, of 7 to 10%, but it doesn't seem like you get, nearly the lift that you were getting a couple months ago. So all these companies that were doing this are obviously now late to the party here this morning. The YRIV guys are obviously a little bit, frustrated there because they released another press release here this morning. So they didn't get the pop last night on it. So they're like, wait, maybe nobody saw it last night. We better issue another one here. And then this morning they announced Yangtze River Port and Logistics Limited is planning and developing to enhance the blockchain technologies in logistics systems or whatever. So they're frustrated. They're like, why didn't their stock go up? We did blockchain. And, now they announced it again this morning. It's still not lifting because, wah, wah, wah. The blockchain stuff just doesn't move stocks like it did before.
This is a thin one, YRRV. You had a print. This was after hours at 3:55, but it hasn't traded since then. This is a thin one. So, it only traded, let's see what it traded on the daily here. It trades right around 50,000 a day. So this one,
they're trying to pump this thing up. It went from $14 to $3. Company's in trouble. They're trying anything. Let's jump on the blockchain bandwagon. That, and I don't know anything about the company. I'm just speculating that's what they're thinking here. And it's too late. It's too late. They needed to do this a month ago, so they're late to the party. So I think this thing, might get a lift of a few percent, but it's not. It's up. It's been up at 320. Maybe it sees 350 or even $4, but it's not going to see 7, 8, 9, 10 like they used to. Who are the top of it all? Spencer was the long blockchain company. What was that one? LBCC.
LBCC was the one.
This was the top. This was the end of it all. When this one went, remember this one? It was like $2, and they said, we're changing our name from Long Island Iced Tea to Long Blockchain. And the stock in the pre-market went from $3 to $15. You won't see it on the chart because I never trade in the regular session. But it went from $3 to $15. It went up like 500% because they were changing their name from Long Island Iced Tea to Long Blockchain. That was the silliest thing. It shows how silly this market was back in December. And then, obviously January got silly too. Everybody's buying every single stock no matter what. LBCC goes from 3 to 15 because they changed their name. That day it never even opened over 10. It opened right at the highs around 9. Look where it is now. And we said that day when the dust settles, this thing's going to give it back. You can go to the show if you don't believe me. That was back in December. But we said it that day, $15, $14, $9, $8, $7, $4. It's right back here at $2.80, giving it all back. 2 months later.
Same thing with Riot. That one traded over $40. That did get Citron. We had Kodak. That also had a pop. Eastman Kodak. That one is back into the origin of where it came from. Riot. Mentioned that one. Longfin, though. Good question out of the chat. Why is Longfin still at $42 after?
Oh, it's held on.
Yeah.
It's off from $142 when we had our crazy move there too. And that was the one where the CEO came on CNBC. They got him under the hot lamp there. And the stock had went from 20 to like 140 that day. And it was trading like 90 or something, when that CEO was on. And they got under and they're like, do you think your company's really worth this because, of the blockchain, thing or whatever you're doing? And he said, I don't know. And he basically said, no, it wasn't. And the stock went from 80 to like 60 that day. We were in such a buzz, though. That next day it went back up over 80 again. Here's the
Dennis, I got to interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
CPI is coming out here in just a matter of moments, and this is a much anticipated.
You're interrupt me for CPI?
Yes, I'm going to.
Okay, it better move. It's usually just the jobs that move. Is the CPI number? When is the last time CPI moved the market?
Well, it's going to move it today.
It's going to move it now because we got volatility back. Okay, I'm going to trade it then. I'm leaving for you for 2 minutes.
Okay. Spencer, go to the 1 minute SPOO chart here. We could get some action. This is a big number. Was it Friday when we had the unemployment number, or a week ago Friday? It got all the chaos going. People are worried about the 10-year going to 4%. A lot of this trepidation here in the market was the earnings or the wage earnings going up. worried about inflation, worried about Fed, and they hit it. They hit the market. They're down 10 points. Boom.
Wow.
Hot number, right? Hot
Wow.
number, 0.4.
Yeah, 0.3 versus 0.2. Prior was 0.3. Core CPI for January at 1.8 versus 1.7%. So not a bad number at all. But
That's unbelievable call there, Joel, on your part.
Yeah, great call.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean,
I gotta go trade this. I'm going on mute.
Wow, we got we got Netflix spiking, which was up already in pre-market, spiking down 1.5%. We have UVXY spiking up 8%. I guess while I'm at it, I'll give you the retail sales for the month. Retail sales for January down 0.3% versus a 0.2% estimate, so they missed it by half a percent there. What else do we have spiking? Netflix is the biggest one that's spiking at the moment. I see a bunch of leverage ETFs spiking, but as far as stocks go, Netflix is the one that was moving off that the most.
All right. Well, you saw the SPOOs just gap down $10. We were trading in the 70 handle, now trading in the 40 handle, not liking the number. A little bit, this move right now has me scratching my head is the gold market right now, because if this is truly an inflationary number, then where's gold? You know, where is the gold? Why isn't gold rallying? Why isn't gold up to 1350? So we just made a pre-market low of 43.25. I don't have a lot in that area. Yesterday's low was down at 34.25. We'll see if we can come down to that area. Maybe they're worried about the retail sales here. Maybe that's it. Retail sales down 0.32% versus estimates of up 0.2%. So I think it's more the retail sales numbers maybe than
Could
the
be.
inflation.
And core retail sales for the month were flat versus a 0.5% gain estimate. So yeah, it could be the retail sales. But the CPI number was fine. So, but I don't know. I guess we're heading towards a inflationary market. Who knows? Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see here. 0.3 versus 0.2. Things are getting interesting here. 35.5, 34.25, 33.5 is your low print. Yesterday's low of 34.25. That's the number. That's the bogey I'm looking at. But boom. Take that out. Just printed at 27, 26, 27. The question is now, Monday's low at 26.20. Is it safe to step in the water before that? 26.19 was Friday's close, 26.20 Monday's low, 26.27 low. Everything goes from green to red, running up ahead of the number, and people are just getting smashed here. 35 back up at 35.5. So 27 is your low currently. Dennis is definitely in a fast market here. What we're going to do is we got 2 minutes here before we bring in Bill Santiago, comedian coming on. It's a good day to have him on the markets talking about his trading experience. Gold continues to move lower. Crude, they're not liking this crude number for crude either. That's down 83 cents at 58.36. Very little green on my screen. I see Facebook hanging on to a 25-cent gain. CVX is up 70 cents, but I only see an odd lot trading in that. So, wow, finally got some action, some volatility, little inflation. Fed maybe a little bit behind the curve. Everything's back to being worried again. Let's take a quick break, and we'll bring in Bill Santiago. Welcome back, traders and investors, to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you by Benzinga Pro. I'm your co-host, Joel Elconin. I may be with you the remainder of the show. Dennis is in a fast market there, trading this hot CPI number. And we are joined by Bill Santiago. And Bill's an interesting guy. He's a comedian. Now, your current shtick is what? Is the Immaculate Big Bang? Are you?
Yeah, that's your show.
Yeah, and I mean, can you give us a little sample, or are you like, do you do him?
Don't ask him to do jokes on our show. Come on. Come on.
You want me to do my show about quantum physics and religion and the afterlife?
No.
I got a question for you.
It's a whole separate thing. It's a little too complicated.
Okay. So do you do imitations at
all? Just of you.
Okay. So can you do a little imitation of me, maybe me talking to Dennis, making a wager or something? And I don't want to put you on the spot here, Bill, but can you do a little Joel imitation?
Dennis, can you hear me, Dennis? Did we lose Dennis? Spencer, do we have Dennis? Who's got Dennis? Dennis! Dennis!
You're taking me away from this market. I'm trying to trade you. Supposed to smell like 30 handles.
I'm trading. I should never trade the show at the same time. Even though
yeah, you're making me do it right now. You're making me come back on the radio show trying to trade stocks.
I got a cold. I can't remember what I'm doing. It's my goldfish memory.
He does listen to us. I think this guy does listen to us.
He does.
Listen to you guys every day. I'm on my way to my girl.
Well, I stayed up all night looking forward to that and thinking about doing that and talking about that with you. I knew you would have a good day, but just let me refresh our listeners. You came across us. I don't know how you found us, but you were new to investing. You came across the podcast. You travel a lot. You're trying to learn the market. So just talk about your introduction to pre-market prep and kind of things you've learned to do and not to do listening to the show.
Yeah, so the way I got into it is a friend of mine who's a comedian was staying over my house. He was in New York, and he was crashing here. And he was checking out his stocks on his Ameritrade account. And I'm like, what's that? And he had a bunch of Apple stock and he was explaining it to me. And, I said, well, what's going on? He said, well, right now it's a good price because it's at such and such level. I said, how do you know? He explained the PE to me. I said, get me going. I want to do this now. And I had never had anyone been able to, I had never had anyone be able to explain it to me before. I've had books around. It was never interesting to me. But now, like on my computer screen, it's suddenly there was something about it that was tangible. And I had someone next to me who could explain it to me. And I got in and I started buying up some Apple stock. It seemed his simple explanation to me that it was like extremely great valuation. And I love the product and it worked out and that got me into it. And I got hooked like that. And then, so I was doing it myself for months. And then I asked him one day, I said, hey, how's your, I wanted to share that he had gotten me into this with him. And I said, how's your stock going? He goes, oh, as soon as Trump got in, I sold everything. Oh. So he completely got out of it. He's missed everything since then. And he doesn't even know that he got me into it,
Okay.
So that was my introduction.
Okay, so you started nibbling, and I believe this was like a year and a half ago. You tweeted.
Yeah. So, I set up a portfolio. I've been buying up some stocks, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's been great, actually. I have one terrible clunker, and the rest of them are all doing pretty good. And the way that I found you guys is that I'm always looking for information. I'm immersing myself in it. I'm always looking for podcasts. And when I was on the iTunes podcast thing, looking for stuff, your show came up. And typically I'll listen a little bit. And if I like it, I'll continue. And you guys, I found you very entertaining and informative. Like I learn a lot from you. Things like BTFD.
Okay.
Don't catch a falling knife. The trend is your friend. Sell Rosh Hashanah. You know, I pick these things up.
Oh, yeah. Sell Rosh Hashanah by Yom Kippur. You do pay attention to the show, and you travel, so.
I sell Cinco de Mayo, and I buy the Puerto Rican Day Parade. But
okay. And so let me ask you. All right, so you're a new guy, you're buying, and the market's going straight up. You're like, this is so easy, right?
Yeah, it's been so easy.
Yeah, and then we
get global synchronized panic, even more fun.
You like that? So tell us.
Yeah,
how did you do?
Huh? Well, I was I was like, what is going on? I knew this was coming. I just didn't think it was coming so quick. I figured I had like another, another year and a half before things started going kaplooey. And then I immediately got a little bit of cash into my account. I was trying to think what has not gone down that much that I can sell in case I want to really take advantage of this or, put in some sort of make up for this, and then I just let it ride out. And I really, in the end, did not do anything because my main lesson is I got to build up some cash,
Okay.
like I realized that is my biggest safety, to have cash to sort of like a buffer against this. And then as an insurance to double down on things that are worthwhile, And so that's been the lesson. And so I decided to just hold on to that cash and build it up for the next one. So I figured this is just a little bit of a scare, and what's coming next, I want to be prepared for that.
All right. So you didn't get hurt. You weren't.
No, everything's fine. Everything's fine. A little scary, but everything's fine.
You didn't get to short anything, or did you venture into the short side at all?
I just learned how to do that. I have no idea how to do that.
Okay. And you dabbled in options a little bit. I remember talking to you about that. You said you wanted to learn the options market.
I do very much want to learn, and I made an appointment for a tutorial with my Ameritrade guy, and we haven't been able to connect, but it is something I want to do.
Okay.
It's so weird because there's so many things that I want to learn, and my area of research is way greater than what I'm actually doing, So like anytime I see anything about options activity, I'm writing it down. I'm researching what the hell that means. I listen to your guy, Nick Shaheen, and he's all backwards. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about, even though I find it fascinating, because it's all reverse option. Sell the puts if I want to buy it, and it takes so much mental manipulation. It's like he's talking backwards the whole time. But it's a mental trick for me just to try to keep up with him. If I can even figure out what he's saying, I consider that like a great level of progress. So every Tuesday I try to figure out a little bit more about what he's saying, and at the same time I'm trying to figure out like what I want to do next. And what I have gleaned is that my very next little baby step, is to do in the money call options. Like apparently that's the safest first step you can do. And I don't know if that's true, but in my mind, that's what I've written down on a couple of for me. And that's what I want to learn how to do as far as the...
Okay. I can, I'll send you an email after the show. I got a few suggestions for you. Dennis, I know you still...
No crypto.
You're not in...
But if I were going to, because I'm torn, because, I'm doing this Immaculate Big Bang show, so I'm into all that stuff. But I'm torn right now, like my next... incarnation, my next life, my next professional step. Do I start my own religion, or do I issue my own cryptocurrency? It's going to be one of those. And I'm thinking I could
the Santiago coin. I can see it now.
Santi coin, which is a little
Santi coin.
Yeah, or God
that's
coin.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the God coin. You can have more money than God. That's all I got.
You got your marketing already figured out on this thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. It's not based on blockchain. It's based on Yank chain, which is the next level. It's blockchain 2.0, Yank chain.
Okay.
Wow.
Did you get caught up in any of those blockchain stocks at all? I know, newbies kind of get
IBM, or what was the other one? Not the Shopify. What was the other one?
Overstock?
Overstock. Yeah, no. I listen. I know which ones that. And I know Dennis has been big on IBM as a blockchain play.
Hasn't worked. It worked for a while. Not working lately. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Dennis, you got any questions here with Bill? I kind of been hogging them here.
I mean, it's just, it's always interesting to, get a guest that listens to the show regularly and, obviously learning from the show as well. I mean, what suggestions do you have for us on the show? Because obviously, we're always looking to improve the show. How can we improve it? How can we make the show better for you, Bill?
You know what? I think it's great because there's you guys know what you're doing so well, but at the same time, it's kind of like a very casual discussion with you guys, and it's very real time. It's not as processed as Mad Money or Fast Money. You don't have like those bells and whistles, which can be distracting. And you guys know each
trying
other.
To get the bells and whistles.
And yeah, so get the bells and whistles.
Bye. Sell.
Just explain to me what spooze is. It sounds vulgar, and I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's S&P 500 futures, Bill.
Okay, all right. Well, there we go. This Skype session was worth it just for that. Now I know.
So, can I ask you what platform you're using?
Ameritrade. Am I okay with that? Am I getting you guys into trouble?
Good. No, that's the good one.
Why'd you pick that one? Just out of curiosity.
You know what? Because my friend had it. I literally copied what he was doing, and then I really like the mobile app works for me. I love looking at it, and it tells me all the information I need right up front, how every stock's doing, how my positions are doing. So I like the app.
And what's your time frame?
Nothing to compare it to.
Okay, time frame on your trades. You kind of just been a long-term investor. Do you do any?
I'm much more. My head is long-term. It's much more. It's much more a longer time horizon. I tend towards looking for value. Like I wait for something to dip. And the way I check like my. I have these gut feelings, and I verify them online by searching what everybody is saying. Not necessarily the analyst reports, but like what the latest articles are on these particular stocks, And then I make my watch list. Like when I saw Celgene go down, it was on my watch, and I said, "Well, that looks pretty good." And so I'm like on the bus, literally on a New York City MTA bus, looking at my app there. And I'm like, should I do it? This looks like I can't believe this is down so much. And I'm checking, why is it down? Is it okay? And then I'm listening to the pre-market prep, which you guys have recorded earlier in the day. So this is your opinion beforehand. And Dennis is saying, if it goes below 100, I'm like, it's already below 100. That's a done deal. Like, I just need some validation. Of course, it's down like 8 percentage points since then with this
everything else.
But still, like that's how I go about it. And I'm looking for things that I'm interested in that it suddenly become a good value and that I could be good long haul. Yeah.
Okay, so my final question here, and I keep asking you, when are you coming to Detroit? Because I think you could get at least 3 people in the office.
Wow, man, that's a hell of a guarantee. I can't wait to take you up on that. I should, I could just Skype it in if it's just the 3 of you.
Okay. Well, let us know what you charge for that. But hey, Spencer, throw his information in there. Bill Santiago, stand-up comedian, newbie trader. What a fun interview, man. I knew this was going to be fun. I've kind of my hidden passion is either to be a sports announcer or a stand-up comedian. But
no kidding.
That's fun, man. You're a lot of fun. You brought a lot of good insight for new people.
I hope you appreciate it. I should be in the pool right now. I'm skipping my laps for you.
I got in at 5:30.
Too, Joel.
I got in at 5:30 this morning, Bill. I got 2,000.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Great invitations. Good luck, and we're gonna track you down soon. Okay. Bill Santiago, stand-up comedian and newbie trader.
Thanks, Bill.
Have a good day.
Okay.
That's great. That was great. Actually, it was worth not trading just to talk with Bill. I'm tired of this guy. This is like money can't do. Money's one thing, but man, this guy is funny.
You know what? I thought Spencer might fall out of his chair. He was laughing so hard. But
I was covering
gotta have
my
it regular.
I had my head in my hands. I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna go off the rails, but it didn't. It stayed on the rails. So, but his impression was good. I will say that his impression was very, very good of the three of us. So I guess it was worth it for that. But
All right, let's get to some.
I don't even know what to say, Joel. I mean, you had the call of a lifetime saying the CPI number was going to move the market. I had no idea it was going to move at 30 handles. That is just a call. I actually made some money just because you said that. So I got off and I got a little bit prepared. I was not enough prepared, I will tell you that. But I was able to hit some stocks. I got short Caterpillar. I was able to hit a couple other stocks too on the number there. And yeah, I made some pretty good money. It would have been better, obviously, if I would have been more prepared myself. Yeah, I mean, 30 seconds of notice, I was like, oh, I'll just get ready to hit a few things just in case. And then kablooey, we'll use what Bill's word there.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, man, I wish I would have been hitting everything.
Yeah, so I just real quick, just from a market tactical standpoint, you just hit bids in that situation, right?
You don't play games. They don't lift offers when the market's going down, Joel. You taught me that.
Okay.
You hit bids. When you see all of a sudden S&Ps collapse, you throw an offer out there. Nobody left an offer. You got to hit those bids. Those guys are called uninformed now because those orders that are sitting out there are getting picked off. And obviously you got the high frequency traders that are really fast at doing it, but a lot of other traders too. And I got picked off a little bit too. First thing I do, so if I got orders sitting out there, when that happens, cancel all orders because you don't want to get hit on any of your buys. Then the next thing you do is start hitting bids. So if you can, and you got about 20 to 30 seconds on that move you had. Obviously, the initial stuff, the high frequency guys getting real good stuff, but there's always some stuff left over there. So I was able to get short some Caterpillar. I was able to get out of one of my NetApp longs, but I'm still had the hedge on, so I'm actually still short. And actually a couple other ones too I was able to hit. So it was good, but if I'm more prepared, I just did not expect a 30-point drop on that. So great call by you.
Okay. So you want to cover some stocks here?
ED in the chat. Everybody's pretty pumped about this one. This one is moving up 7% here. Spencer, you got the headline? If you don't, I do.
On OLED? Yeah, they signed the deal with Samsung this morning. They signed a supply agreement with Samsung.
That's why the stock is trading up so significantly here in the pre-market. Not caring that the S&Ps are selling off. It's up to $11 here, 146 to close. 160. You're just looking at a level on this thing. That was the low back in December. I'm just rounding, and old Harlan Pilon, who was great, obviously, Harlan Pilon. He always has said, look at a chart, what level jumps out at you. When I just bring up this chart in the first second, what level jumps out at me, if I'm looking at like the 3-month chart, it's 160. And if we get back up to that 160 area, I think you got a little bit of resistance there.
Okay, let's look at your pre-market high, 161.80. That's where you went on the second jump there. That was right around 7 o'clock this morning. Basis the daily charts, I have something to back that up here. 161. That was your high on February 2nd. So we backed off $3.50 from that level. That could be your first point of resistance. If the rally continues, and then you got a big jump up to 166.90, but you're leaking here a little bit, so hard to find support here. It kind of looks like some people, even the high in your last bracket here was 160.70. So starting to come down here a little bit, but nice pop in OLED. Also coming out of the chat, WM, Washington Mutual.
Washington Mutual, Joel will say. No, it's waste management, but anyways, that's because WM was the old Washington Mutual. Joel's so old school there. He knows all the old tickers, and they took over. Waste management used to be WMI. Was it WMI?
Yeah, it was.
I think so. And Waste Management International. And then Washington Mutual went belly up basically in the financial crisis. I think it got taken over, but it was kind of like a more belly up situation that was just helping them out. And then WM's like, oh, we got our ticker symbol. We can drop the I. And they went grab WM.
Okay. All right.
Can we talk
about waste management?
Let's just take
after this. I want to talk about Netflix after this.
Okay. Traded down 49 cents here. Not a lot of action. Looking at the dailies here. First point, I mean, you got a couple areas to look at. Two lows right at the $80 area. 79.86 and 80 even. So that support you need to hold. After that, and the low of the move, like everything else, was made on Friday at 78.39. Coming back on the upside. Gonna find sellers over 21 as you did the last 2 days. Coming out of the YouTube chat from Are You Correct? IRBT. And man, this thing got smoked.
Really smoked.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy. They didn't like to report. And
they reported on a bad day too. That was when the market was crashing. So it's not even that it was a bad report. It was the worst timing for the report. That was like on, the week there that they were hitting everything. So, if they report that this week, maybe it'd be a different story. But, it does matter when market sentiment is that bad, and it was last week, and you're reporting disappointing numbers, you are going to get murdered. And that's what happened. Now, 55 low. Is that safe, Joe? We're $10 off that.
Oh man, I'd love to see a little bit of a pull, 50% here of this rally. You made a low of 55.7, just call it 56 to 65, 9-point move, 4.5, takes it back $60. I'd be more interested if this pulled back to the $60 area, put a couple little lows in, and then you could lead on that 55.77 low. But I think it just might have this isn't going right back to $90. You're going to have a couple days, perhaps some consolidation, position squaring. High on the day, on the earnings disaster day, that was 71.06. So if you really get in that rally mode, that could be a target on the upside.
Jump over here to Netflix. Spencer wants to talk about it.
I just wanted to bring it up. It maybe not as relevant now. It was up 2.5% this morning. It kind of gave it all back with the CPI number. But Netflix was up 2.5% because they had signed Ryan Murphy to a multi-million-dollar deal. No terms disclosed, but various reports are saying it's around a 5-year, $300 million basically production deal. This is the guy who created shows like Nip Tuck, Glee, American Horror Story. And I couldn't understand why that would make the stock go up 2.5%. And if anything, put Netflix up 2.5% and not hit Disney, because this guy spent his entire career with Fox, just got bought by Disney. And so I guess I was just totally confused by that discrepancy there. And I don't really understand.
We were talking about it. That would have been if people would have been tuned into the pre-market show. Dennis, you're like, this is ridiculous. Why this thing is up this much on this news? And I don't know if you got a chance to short it all ahead of the number, but man, oh man, we pulled back. You put a nice double top in here above 265, at 264.89, that's your pre-market high. Starting to pull back with the CPI number. Everything got hit on that one. Trading up 221 though. I'm sure a lot of shorts or people that want to get long want to see it green or unchanged on the session. So I would keep on that. Just a note here, S&Ps are coming back here and
trying.
Yep, they're trying to. Down 21 here. I'm not going to do the old Dennis thing where I think we're going to go back green today, but I think, market's resilient here. A lot of people, did get hit. Now the pullback, backing and filling a little gift in the pre-market, but, here we are trading back at 26.40.50. Man, we've had a big range already. What do we got? 50-point range. So you know what I like to look at? 37.47.52. We get back up to 26.50, 26.52. That could be a target if you're trying some early longs in today's session. And I was talking about gold, and a good call here, AG Penn. I'm like, well, if everyone's worried about inflation, why are they hitting gold? And I wish I would have just bought gold instead of talking about it on the show. It went down to 13, 19, 10. And now you're $10 above that low. So, Dennis, any final comments?
A couple other stocks in the chat. We can stay for an extra couple minutes here. Just Dr. J wanted to know Applied Materials and Cisco, both due to report here after the bell. I was playing these for pre-earnings runs. I actually got out of them pre-market, thank goodness, because they've turned around and went south. They were both trading up significantly in the pre-market there. Keep an eye, though. These stocks tend to be strong ahead of the report. So what I mean is relatively strong. So when I look at Cisco, you look at the Qs. Qs are down 0.87%. Cisco's only down 0.2%. So still showing a lot of relative strength here in the pre-market. Applied Materials, same story. It's down 0.91%, but its beta is a lot more than the Qs. So it's actually performing quite well considering how much the Qs are down here. So that's always the consideration when you're trading stocks, is you want to know what they are doing relative to their indice. And when you're looking at, as tech stock, look at the Qs. That's the better, thing to look at. Obviously not so much looking, at the SPY, because the Qs is what matters more. And what is the beta of the stock? So if it's if it's twice as much as the Qs, then it should be down 1.5%. The Qs are down 0.75%. So I always look at it that way as well. But in any regard here, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Usually these stocks tend to be a little bit strong ahead of the numbers, and then obviously it's a crapshoot after the number. But Cisco has been running quite a bit into this number already. We got down to 37.35 last week in the washout, trading 41 this morning. You're only really $1.50 off the highs. So hard to get that bullish here because it's run up a little bit into the report. Applied Materials, a bit different stories. I think these guys will have good quarters, just a matter of whether it's going to be good enough. And it matters what the market's doing tonight after they report.
Okay, just quick levels here for our Cisco trader. It's only trading down 8 cents, so showing some relative strength here. You got three highs right around the 41.30, 41.40 area. So keep an eye on that if you do have a little bit of a rally. Also, just taking a look at AMAT. This has a double top to contend with, and actually trade the range in AMAT unless it breaks it. An inside day yesterday, your 2-day high 49.88, yesterday's high 49.65. So look for that area as resistance. And matching lows at 48.41 and 48.50. So a little bit of range bound today. This one trading down 54 cents in the pre-market. So, all right, that was a fun show, man. That Bill, he really that was a great fun interview. Love doing stuff like that. Got a little bit away from the markets, but just wanted to get someone out there that's listening to the show, learning, doesn't necessarily listen to it live, and a lot of fun with that. So I don't know who our guest is tomorrow, but he's going to have a hard time following that act.
Well, we have two guests tomorrow, actually, now that you mentioned it, Joel. Mark Chaikin and Christian Magoon.
It's Mark, though. Mark will follow that. Christian
Magoon, who has not joined us for quite a while. Christian is with Amplify ETFs. If you recall, last week we had Eric Irvin on the show. He has one blockchain ETF. Christian Magoon has the other blockchain ETF. So we're going to talk with Christian about how those two differ and about the future of blockchain and yada, yada, yada. But that's on the show for tomorrow. If you want to catch today's show, you can do so on our podcast, as Bill Santiago does, on iTunes, SoundCloud, or on Stitcher. Thanks to all you who joined us today in our chats, premarket.benzinga.com, and on YouTube as well. Hope you all have a good rest of your day, and hope you join us tomorrow.